My name is Stephen Dietrich.
My name is Gisele.
Dietrich.
I gotta make sure we get that.
And how long have y'all been married?
30 years.
30 years.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
married 30 years ago. How long ago did we meet? We met in 91. I'm going to say September
Yeah.
of 1991. Very, very few times do people really fall in love at first sight. I think I fell in love at first sight, I'm pretty sure.
I was like, why is he staring so much? He couldn't, like, literally, he was just like constantly staring at me. And, but, you know, I liked him too, but I was just like, kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of strange. Why is he looking?
When you're in a band, you meet a lot of girls, you have a lot of relationships, and I should say that every relationship I had before I married my wife ruined me for my relationship with my wife. So I was myself for all these other relationships, and it never worked. Being myself, it never worked. I could never keep anybody for any extended period of time, so I figured, well, you know, and all these girls, they always went for the bad boy type. So I decided to, well, I really like this one, and I don't want to lose her. So let me play the bad boy. And I did. I played the bad boy for 20 years. It's funny because I was myself with my two girls as they were growing up, but with my wife, I was a totally different person. And then I became somebody else in her family.
I grew up in a very toxic
environment. And
with my parents and their relationship. So all I knew was the relationship that they had, and to me that was normal. The constantly arguing, putting down, yelling, tossing things.
verbal abuse.
A lot of verbal abuse. Never physical, but verbal abuse. So to me that was normal. And as the years went on in the marriage and with him with that attitude of like, then he became sort of like my dad.
That came into the marriage.
I grew up, like I said, in a toxic home where my parents never said, I love you. And they were not I'm a very touchy person. I like hugs and like, you know, I'm that way. And he wasn't like that. So I always looked at him, how he was with the girls, and he was always loving on them. And I was jealous of my own kids. So I was like, why don't I get the same kind of treatment? And I told him, I said, you know, that the kids, all they see is just arguing constantly. They don't see love. They don't see us holding hands. They don't see us kissing. I'm not saying about, you know, all of that stuff, but, you know, just the regular hugging and kissing and things like that. So I told him, I said, I don't want our kids to grow up and think that marriage is just a wife just catering to the family, always in the kitchen, cooking, serving, and there's no love, because that is not the way it is. So I don't want them to grow up with that. Of course, you know, that went in one ear and out the other. And I had my father-in-law actually came to me and he said, why are you still with him? Look at the way he treats you. I've been here so many times and I have to bite my tongue not to say anything, because the way he treats you in front of everybody is just, it's horrible. Why are you afraid to leave? Why don't you divorce him? He said that to me, and he said, someone is going to come into your life, sweet talk to you into your ear, and you're going to fall for somebody else and this will be over. And that's exactly what happened. I met someone who was actually coming around, and you know, this person had issues, and I wanted, me being codependent, I wanted to just help out however way I wanted. And little by little, I started developing feelings for this person, and this person was developing feelings for myself as well. And, you know, the enemy knows exactly where your weak areas are. And I had starved for so long for love, for affection, for, you know, he always talked so good about me to other people, you know, how good of a person I was, how hard I worked, but he never told me those things. So, you know, soon all of a sudden I meet this person, and then I'm getting all this attention and all this affection and love that I'm not getting at home. And the enemy was constantly saying, now is your turn. Now is the time for you to live for you. You have been giving yourself out to your children, to your husband. You've done so much for them, and look how they pay you.
And
They
nothing
just
in return.
nothing in return. So now you're living for you. You're just gonna enjoy it. And you know what? It felt good. It felt good. It was crazy time, and that went on for about 6 years. Of course, he found out about it
Early on.
9 months into
And it
it.
was on and off, back and forth. Fixing, trying to fix, then breaking up, and then trying to fix, and then moving out, and then moving back, and then moving out again.
Making promises that I
Yeah.
couldn't keep.
Everybody was saying, dude, it's done. It's finished. It's over. And I had a little voice in my head saying, even if she did come back, how am I ever gonna trust again? Am I gonna be able to, every time she picks up her phone, wonder what's going on? Is she messaging somebody else? If she's in the bathroom, closes the door with her phone or something like that, or, I was like, even if she came back, there's no way possible I could live a normal life again. How can you live a normal life? I mean, how can you be married to somebody you can't trust? I mean,
And same with me. I was just like, how am I going to go back? And I'm going to feel like I'm trapped. Like I'm going to have to give him account of every place that I go. Like, am I going to be free to come and go? Is he going to put a device in my car to track me where I go? Or things like that. So it was just like, how is this even going to work out? In one of our moments, we came here to church, and we met with someone here at the church, and this person just kind of like, she was trying to help us to just move on and giving us ideas on, okay, maybe try this, maybe try that. But she said something that I always remember. She said, you guys need to be separate. You guys need to go separate ways. You need to seek God on your own. And you, Steve, need to do the same thing. Seek him on your own. And when you find the God and you let him just restore you and let him work in your heart and let him, work on all the things that are broken, and you learn to trust and have faith and all of that, watch what he's going to do. It's not in your own timing, but in his. And when he knows that you guys are ready, this is when the marriage is going to be back together, and it will be better than it's ever been.
yeah, we don't want to listen to that.
They didn't want to listen to that.
We wanted to do it in our own timing, not in his timing.
Yeah.
And I kept meddling in things, trying to help God do this and help God do that. And, if I do this, then she'll like that and see me in a different way. And, just one thing after another.
He
sometimes
was-
it worked a little bit, and
Yeah.
then we go back and
He was
back
so
and forth.
desperate to have me back. Like, he knew exactly where I was headed. It's just like you're trying to stop, someone from hitting the wall. And he kept telling me things, but that was really working against me. Like, sometimes he would be like really sweet to try to win me back, but some other times he was like very like,
And then if that didn't work, I tried the shame route.
Right. And
You shouldn't do this. Your kids are going to see, and they know, and, shame doesn't work.
But that is something that, like, now that we've been through all our stuff, I tell people shaming and threatening doesn't really do anything. If anything, it just pushes you away.
Finally, I said, I'm done. I can't take it anymore. I'm finished. I don't want to do anything else anymore. And I just focused on him. I didn't focus on anything else. I was done with her altogether. Just focus on him, focus on church, focus on playing for him, worshiping him, and I left it alone. And as soon as I took my hands off, that's when he did the miracle.
Coming back home and allowing God to slowly just restore our marriage is just like, I mean, people will ask, you know, they were all kind of like very skeptic because I had done this back before. I had gone back twice. So this is the third time that I'm going back home, and to just try this out. But this time it was different. This time I had developed the relationship that I needed to have with the Lord. I mean, it was all prayer. Prayer changes us. It moves mountains. It frees you, basically. I felt, I go in my closet and I pray in my closet. And I was like, I can't do this on my own. I can't. And I said, you have to help me. And after I was done praying, I was there for a while, I felt this weight lift off my shoulders. It was like I went in there very, very heavy, and I left like feeling like, you know, like a feather. I was so light. And I knew then that, okay, we're definitely on the road to recovery and reconciliation, and this is just going to be better than it's ever been. And it has been. It's been amazing. A marriage that was like completely dead. There was nothing left there. You know, when they say when there's fire, there's ashes, there's always a little bit left. There was nothing left. Like the ashes have been blown.
Our marriage was deader than Lazarus.
Yes.
It's definitely a lot easier for Jesus to resurrect Lazarus after 4 days in our marriage, after 6 years of utter HE double hockey sticks. But
I always think, you know, I look back and I go like, okay, would I ever do that again? What I went through? I know I put my life through misery with children. Emily was 9 years old when the relationship started. And so she went through her teenage years with mommy not being there for her. And that was hard. But the relationship that I gained, the relationship that I now have with God.
I mean, you guys see us. We got our family, we got our daughters here, we got our grandson here. I mean, you know, what's funny is 20 years we had no clue that we were perfect for each other. We had to go through all this to find out. I had to find out who she was inside. She had to find out who I was inside, and it turns out that we had been perfect for each other all along. It just didn't even realize it.
So I tell him, you know, God put us together
to
twice.
fix us.
Yes.
He put us together to fix us ourselves
He
to fix our relationship with Him, because through all this He brought us closer to Him. And
So,
we wouldn't be this close to God if it wasn't for this mess. Our kids wouldn't be this close to God if it wasn't for this mess. It's just He takes everything and turns it to good.